right, guys. D here, FTO Nerd Talk, and I'm here with Karla. Is it Nippy?
Nappy.
Nappy. My apologies.
That's
Karla
okay.
Nappi, the creator of Duplicants. Now, Duplicant has a lot of other creators attached to it. I want to talk about the names because I know they're a little bit difficult for me for the creators, like the other writers and the artists and the inker and the letterers. Who was the artist on this book?
So my artist is Mariana Strakowski, and she's based out of Poland. So she's been awesome. And then I have two different letter artists. Josh Reed did the lettering and my logo, and then he got hired into DC Comics, and he wasn't allowed to keep doing outside projects. So he turned me on to Carlos, who used to work at DC with him, and Carlos has taken over the book since then and done a fabulous job. And then Vince Hernandez was my editor on issue one. He's the one that introduced me to Josh. And then Layla Del Duca and Owen Gianni do all my covers. And I met Layla through this artist, a grant program that I used to run. And one of the grantees did a comic book, and she did the cover on one of his issues. So he hooked me up with her.
Goodness. What kind of process did you have with the artist? Did you guys communicate a lot back and forth about the art? Or did you just let her go wild with it? What kind of process was it for you?
So when I first hired Mariana, it was when I was just starting to get into the comic writing game, and I thought I could sell the book with just like 5 pages. And I quickly realized I needed to actually have a complete first issue in order to really get people's attention. So in the beginning, I think she would agree with me on this. We had a lot more back and forth than we do now, because it was just learning how to work with each other. She's in Poland. She didn't want to talk by phone. She wanted everything to be by email.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of that what added to, I think, a little bit of the difficulty in the beginning with getting exactly what I wanted down. And it also told me that I needed to be even more detailed in my panel descriptions than I had been previously. I was pretty detailed to begin with, but I needed to include a lot of reference art in the scripts and with whatever I sent to her, so she knew exactly what was going on up here.
And it seems like Mariana really caught on to what you were trying to put out there. I don't know the conversation you two had, but seeing this story, watching Pamela's transition from being a paralegal to being a duplicant, you see this happen. It's kind of a wild story. You have a kind of a utopian clean society, but you have this underlying deviantness inside of it. Pretty much like the story, I don't want to give too much away, but being a duplicate means you're being sold off to the highest bidder, and you become essentially their property. And
Yep.
it's you see this struggle and this turmoil that goes on with Pamela, and already beforehand, she was trying to understand her life, and just do a curveball at it. And later on, in that second issue, you see that she also had some more struggles that she overcame on top of what already happened to her being a duplicate. You put a lot of nuance into these characters, and honestly, it was a smooth read. Your writing
Oh,
is
thank you.
your writing is fabulous, and the art complemented it so much. It has a very Fiona Staples kind of feel to it, but very clean and open, like a Jen Pertal. The art is great, the writing is captivating to it. But I guess I gotta ask a question. The question is, how do you get the voices for these characters so well?
Oh, well, let me just go back to Mariana for one quick second when you're talking about her with the face work, because my book is not very action heavy, so I rely very heavily on having Mariana emote what I'm trying to get
Yes.
across. And so the first page I had her do is that page where Pamela gets, I'll just say, attacked, so
Yeah.
I don't give it away. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And she blew that page out of the water, and that's how I knew I had to have her on the book, because I need someone who, when I describe, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a paragraph in of what I have going on in the character's head, and she just gets it, and it's there in the face.
And
So
even
that's
the priest that Pamela went to see from her coworker, even that the priest has a face emotion also to him, that not only describes what's what intensity is happening in that world, but like how like the wayward people who don't really subscribe to duplicants and like what they're trying to sell to like the people of that world, like she really sold that along with the traumatic scene you're talking about with Pamela. Uh, the She looked like death after that incident, like
Yeah.
pure like a zombie, a ghoul walking around, and like it really gave shivers down my spine after I saw that. So like
Yeah.
bravo, like to both of you. Like I'm not sure that that's the best thing like to give praise to, but like the story itself really stuck with me. I'm pretty sure it's gonna leave like a long lasting feel for me for a while. Like was it hard to get those panels out there?
Yeah, I would say that page was pretty difficult to write, especially as someone who knows people that have been through those types of incidents.
Right.
I felt kind of emotionally sick afterwards because I want to do justice to my characters and I want people to really relate to what's going on because for any one of us you just never know what's going on in our lives in the background, how much of that is influencing the way we're just reacting and moving through our days,
Yeah.
especially with current events
Yeah.
being what they are. So it's just trying to honor them and their journeys and make them feel like they're fully fleshed out characters.
You did that. Like even with the character Matt Travers, who kind of like started this whole thing. And like when I talked about the nuances also, I'm gonna get back to Travers, but Travers and the nuances you put inside, like you have gay couples inside this story. You have people who are very like open with themselves, but none of that is called to attention. None of that is awkward. None of that is really a part of the story. Like even like the greatest scientist who created like the duplicate process is a black scientist, and none of that is ever like never shoehorned, never thrown in your face, never said like, hey, like he's like the first blah 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 to do any of this. Like it just is. And like why did you decide to take that approach to like not only Travers but like the story in general?
I think I decided to take that approach because in the future, that's how I'm hoping people are more going to be reacting to everyone in this world as just human beings that we respect and understand. And when I first came up with this idea, it was actually a pilot script that I adapted through a comic book writing class that I took at Meltdown Comics. And Pamela was actually just a one scene character that I realized needed this bigger story to it. And Matt, when I scripted him, I at the time was like, well, if I ever get this made, I'll just see whoever comes in for casting. I want like a wide range of whoever. But then I realized when you do a comic book, obviously you have to very specifically cast who you want. And so I was like, well, I don't see a lot of Black lead characters that are scientists in comic books, and that felt important to me to have that sort of representation in the book to the best of my ability.
And that's exactly how it felt, was like representation. It didn't feel like it was put in just to put in. It felt like this is like the progression of humanity, and like this is what we see with that progression. And like it was very well done.
Thank you.
Like very well done. And with Travers doing his thing, like working for this company, and you see like glimpses of the American government also talking to that corporation about like having people being sold off to others who get the duplicate program. Uh, like I didn't think you were gonna put like that hint of like why it is the way it is, and like you really didn't really go too much in detail with it, just saying the fact that it is, and like that American people accept it, except for those who are protesting it, which weren't that many people until after something else happened in the story. It just did you have all that world planned out like way before, or did that just come along as like you and Mariana like we're doing this?
No, I had all that planned out at the script stage when I got to it. Yeah.
That's so cool. It just I love a good world building, and like you created a world. You even have like a reasoning why there isn't any litter inside this world. You have like the pandemic that started all this, and it's still going on. Even like some people are naysayers about the pandemic and why it is a thing. And like as I'm reading this, like I really don't see a real antagonist in this story? Like, was that also planned? Like, not to have like an actual
Yeah, because
antagonist?
I don't want to give away who the protagonist is too
Right.
early. You kind of get more of a sense of who that person might be in
Might be.
issue 4. But I definitely try to like steer you like, oh, is it this person? Well, wait, maybe it's this person. Oh, wait,
Right.
I think it's this person.
And it keeps drawing me back to that point over and over again. Like, is it this person? Is it not that person? And any good detective story that you read, like the main protagonist cannot be the antagonist in a story. Like, that's like a cardinal rule when it comes to writing a detective story. But even the protagonist in the story have switched up inside this story as well. Like, was that also intentional to have a had the protagonist switch up every so often?
No, so that was something that kind of came out of adapting the pilot script into the comic book. Pamela was just meant to be literally in one scene in the script. And so when I took the comic book writing class so I could learn how to write this, challenging and awesome medium and just fell in love with writing
That's
of
cool.
comic books, I realized that Pamela needed to be this bigger character that continued on throughout the entire series. So she'll just keep coming back through the first 5 issues.
And there's more glimpses as the series goes. Like, again, I don't want to give away too much, but it seems like it's more glimpses of this character that we see in the other issues, and like it's we see about Matt, we see about like his struggles and how he became where he is now, and it seems like Matt has a lot of ghosts haunting him, and like he struggled with his altruisticness, his morality, his compass, however you want to describe it. Like, it seems like that's like his main struggle with himself is that. And why give a character that type of drive in this story? Like, I know what happens to Matt. Like, I read the story, but like, well, why did you make him so like so gung ho and determined about this?
Well, the main reason is because his technology is used in a way that he never intended and he never wanted. Part of it is because of what happens with his family, and that's like his main drive to create these duplicate organs, is I wanted to have him almost have his head in the sand. Like, he's just so engrossed in trying to perfect this and then move on to trying to get the vaccine done after that he's just not really paying as close of attention as he should have been to what's being done with his tech. And so what happens with Pamela, it's not that he wasn't paying attention, but he probably just wasn't as into it as he should have been.
Right.
He isn't as loud. He's not ringing the danger bell as loudly as he should have been. And
I've
so this is what really starts getting him to be like, what is going on? This is never what I wanted. This is never what I intended. I have to fix this. I have to make this right. If not for my family, I feel like Matt always had the sense of like wanting to do what's best for humanity. And he went into this field of work to help humanity. So that's just part of who he is. And in his efforts to do that, he kind of got lost along the way.
I call that everything you just said. I call that the Superman syndrome, because that's what Superman does. Superman like tries to do good. He often like does good, but like he loses himself and like his real purpose of why he's doing good along the way. That's is you stuck it. You stuck that landing. And there's a lot of uppins in this also. A lot of characters get like their just desserts in this story. Like, I'm not gonna say who, I'm not gonna call any names, but like you see like the tables constantly being turning. And I think that what makes this story such a smooth and fast read. Like, you get to see this character, you get to see their transition, then you get to see like it just completely switch on them, and it's real. It's not like, not just like a shoehorn story. Like, it's something that could actually happen to a person, because like the grief and gall of being a human at times, like it puts you in that moment. Like, you really capture that in my eyes.
Thank you.
Like, very, 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 very well done. Like, from like your whole crew, like all you guys did fantastic.
I'm
Uh,
so lucky. The people I have working with me on this are fabulous.
yeah, ditto. And I really hope to see more issues of this. Like, most definitely. I'm gonna take a little break for talking about your comic book and ask you, like, are you the same Nappi who wrote for The Good Wife and The Messenger, Base Motel, Suits, and all that?
I was the script coordinator on most of those shows. I wrote an episode and a webisode of Suits, but yes, I am the same Karla I worked in film and TV for like 15 years until I took a break after my son was born.
Wow, you got a extensive list of accolades here. My goodness.
Yeah,
So
I
you,
worked in New York and in Los Angeles, both coasts.
what was it like to work on these shows? Like, what was it like to have like your finger a part of these?
It was amazing. I loved it. I worked on Rescue Me and I got to be on set, which was great. I worked on Law and Order for a season, and the production offices were right next to the stages, so you could just go down. I had a dog at the time named Gizmo who came to work with me every day, and like Jerry Orbach would come by and play with the dog. It was a good time.
That's cute. I like that. Is there anything like out of all those shows and some movies that you've done? Also, like, is there anything that really like stands out to you in that whole time you've done that?
Well, my main job as script coordinator was reading everything that they do to proofread it. And so I was reading like, the storyboards, I was reading the outlines, every single draft of the script. And that's just a great place to learn. And I think having worked in film and TV and just being so immersed in every single episode of every show I've ever worked on, being, from the very idea to the final script, is what helped me be able to write comic books, because you're taking basically like it's a visual field that you're putting on paper, so you have to be able to think in the shots, you have to edit. And I studied post-production and editing at NYU. I was very lucky to study with Sam Pollard, the editor that works with Spike Lee all the time. And so I think like all of that stuff kind of like directed me eventually towards comics.
Do you like working with comics? Like, have you worked with comics before this?
I hadn't actually worked with comics before this. I was telling a friend, I was like, all these years I had this one friend who kept telling me, why aren't you going to comic book conventions? Like, you're missing out. You're going to love it. And so I finally went, and I was like, I am the world's biggest idiot. I should have been doing this from the time I was like old enough to go. And I loved it. I was like, this is where I belong. What was I thinking? And so when I decided to try my hand at comic book writing, I knew that because I didn't know how it was done, like I knew TV writing and I knew script writing, but comic book writing is a completely different medium. And I wanted to respect that. And so that's why I sought out taking a class. And I found this great class at Meltdown Comics taught by Jim Higgins, who had formerly worked at DC. And so that's where I got the tools of how to actually take the ideas in my head and put them onto the proper form on paper. And then I also lucked out I met Vince Hernandez at a convention. I kind of just like jumped him after a panel, and I was like, hey, so I got this script and I'm like trying to get in the comics. And I think it was my TV credits that like helped him take a minute to actually listen to me.
Were you fanning out a little bit?
I was fanning out a little bit, exactly. It was so funny that he actually even took the time to talk to me, because he actually read the script. Like, I didn't even have any art at that point. I didn't have an artist. I had nothing. I had a script. And he read the script. And so he helped me with that script. And then, like I said, he hooked me up with Josh, and he helped me when I first started to get art in with like how to give notes and how to like handle that process and everything. So he was just completely invaluable with that first issue.
It's like Hernandez went full mentor on you. That's cool.
He was a full mentor. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I had a bit of a break between the first and second issues due to finances. And so that's why he wasn't able to continue at that point past that. But yeah.
My goodness, that's a cool story. Like, just went up and talked to him, and here we are. You gotta. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's comics right there, man. I love
it. Yeah.
Like, I keep going back and forth from this first issue. I want to talk about a third issue, but I don't want to give too much away. You just
cliffhangers. I always have love cliffhangers.
You did it in the first two issues, and you did it again with this one too. And what I like the most about the third issue, and I won't give away too much, is that you see like the camera changes from the main character we saw in the first issues and completely turn and goes like to like the people inside this world, and like they're like grievances with how the world is really ran. Like the ones who aren't protesting, you get to see like the turmoil like that they go through. Even like they go about it the way they go about it. Like, it just you get to see that, and it's really raw. Again, it's really real also. But I guess like all those mentors, all your credits, everything you've gone through, like you, yeah. This is your first comic book, and you're gonna keep on doing this. Your name is gonna be burned rent free inside my head because my goodness, this is like your work is really good. Like it
Oh,
really
thank
is.
you. Thank you.
Like it really captivated, and like I think what you do really well that really caught me off guard that I don't see as much in comic books anymore is you use the thought bubbles as voice bubbles, and you don't see that in comic books as much anymore because some people can see it as confusing. But you use that, and like you get to see a story as we're seeing those bubbles. I'm not sure that that's more you or the letterer or Mariana that put that together, but like the transitions of that really like did a number, and like with the seamless and smooth drawings inside of this, like my goodness, this is it's very storyboard. It's very if I can draw comparisons, it's very Mark Millar, like
Yeah.
kind of style writing, and like the like Mariana, like I'm not sure what she saw or how she like took this story, but she ran with what you gave her, and it's dynamite, absolutely dynamite.
She's just amazing at bringing what I have to life, and she's also amazing at showing when I don't have a page worked out right. Of she doesn't tell me like, Karla, this page isn't working. She'll just do like a rough sketch, and I can see instantly. I'm like, oh.
And you see that, and that's what I mean about the thought bubbles. Like you can see like where there isn't much story like to tell, and like she puts a story of her own inside of it, and like that's why I like to say like they're comic book creators and not just comic book artists and writers. You guys are creating something
Yeah.
with this, and like you actually did create something with this. Um, I usually have more questions. I really do, but like I can tell you were catching on with what I was doing, and you were answering some before I got to ask, and I appreciate that. You did some of my work for me, and I appreciate that. This is a Kickstarter, and it comes out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, so the Kickstarter comes out February 2nd for the fourth issue, and then I'm also in previews right now. The first issue will be in comic book stores in April.
So great. Like these covers are, oh my god, these
Yeah,
covers.
and we've got a special cover, a B cover for the comic book stores, and then also the publisher had me write letters to the fans that are unique to each issue that they're publishing that won't be replicated on the Kickstarter.
Wise move, most definitely a good choice. Um, with the fourth issue, was that written before the pandemic, or was that written after or during the pandemic?
I took two comic book classes at Meltdown. The first was creating like your first issue, and then the second was long form comics, was like fleshing out the series. And so through that class, I had like a proposal for the entire series, and I had done the page by page breakdowns for the first 5 issues. Before the pandemic started, issue 1 and 2 were completed, like totally done in the can. Issue 3, issue 3 through 5, I just had the page by page breakdown. So I was writing the actual
Oh
script
my
of issue
god.
3 off my page by page in March, right as the lockdown
Oh
started.
my god. It's like you with nuance. This is gonna be insane. And
Yeah, and so then issue 4 is done being drawn. So that was written over the summer. I just got the art in like a week or two ago, and I was actually, right before our phone call, I was going through the script again to like tinker with the dialogue so Carlos doesn't have to make a bunch of changes after he letters it. And then I got to write issue 5. But the page by
uh,
pages were already fleshed out before the world went crazy.
and I gotta ask because I'm pretty sure people are gonna like wonder why I didn't ask, but you're gonna put like a lot of like the subtext of our world into this story. I have to assume that you are.
I am and I'm not. I would say like the biggest influence right now is I could never have imagined how many people need to wear masks. Like I don't know why that just never occurred to me that was a thing we were going to need to do in a pandemic. That was probably a lapse in my own research, but I'm definitely trying to be more careful about showing people wearing their masks going forward. At the very least, any hospital scenes, that everyone is masked up going forward. And yeah, it's probably what's going on with our pandemic is probably going to tinker with how this pandemic ends up being. Because I have, I know obviously what I want it, what the source of it is, and how Matt's going to either conquer it or not conquer it. But I
Right.
think with reality that we're in right now, it's probably going to move it.
Sounds like it's pretty much a kind of in limbo, but not really. All right. Huh. My goodness. You are uh don't use this word very often, but you are a genius when it comes to this. You really are.
Oh, thank you.
Like you really like the third issue touches on a lot of things when it comes to certain characters. I do not want to give any of this away because it is my goodness, like it hits you in your feels in this one here. And it's kind of like a back and forth. It's kind of like, like what the hell is really going on? Kind of like, like emotion drive to you. And like, if that's not like hype enough to continue reading the story, like I really don't know what is. And
well, especially with the big curveball I gave at the end of the issue
too. Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't see that coming, right?
Like, why would he do that? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, but like, yeah. Who did it? What's going on? Who's the antagonist? That's what I kept saying to myself. So like, you got me again. So yeah.
You know what TV show was like a big influence? So like I always say Minority Report and Repo the Genetic Opera were my big influences with creating the show. But as far as making all my characters like super nuanced and everything was the first season of Daredevil.
Wow.
With the antagonist in that show, because he was so layered, he was so nuanced.
Yeah.
I was like, this is how you do it.
I mean, yeah, like how do you top the Kingpin? Like you don't really.
Exactly. So I always try with all my characters, however they're going to, turn out in the story for you guys, to make sure they've got both the good and the bad going on.
I hear you. And I'm doing this this podcast with a comic book Instagram following called Comic Shop News, and I'm reading the Rodney Burns Philadelphia story. And like the way he writes this story, he puts a lot of dialogue into his characters. Like he wants his character to be hyper aware, hyper conscious, like very IQ driven type characters. You do the same with yours, but like you put like an ease to it. You put like he puts like the mental disorder like that most of us have nowadays inside those characters, but you do it also, but it's lingering. Like they're high functioning with their ailments, their quirks, their whatever you want to call it. Like they're very high functioning with that, and like the society lends itself to be that way also. And like I like the utopian style that you put into this world, but also like that deep underbelly of like this is not right and we should probably fix it. Like you really did a good job. Like I can't say enough, but you really did.
Thank you. I kind of feel like that's what we're all dealing with right now too. We're in this crazy world that we all have to try to function in every day, and sometimes we do okay at it and sometimes we don't. I'm constantly trying to forgive myself for sticking my kid in front of the TV as much as I do and not feel super guilty about it.
I have 3, so I hear you. Yeah. Like sometimes, like it just we're all stuck inside. Like you gotta do something. I can only teach you so much in one day. So
yeah, it's like Mama needs to turn her head off.
just a little bit.
A little bit. I gotta hide in the kitchen and eat some candy. Give me a minute.
My goodness, the third shift is for me, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? And you said the Kickstarter starts on February 2nd. So where can people find you?
So I'm at karlanappi.com, KarlaNappi.com. And then I'm on Instagram and Twitter under Musings by Crazed, MUSINGSBYCRAZED. And then Duplicant is on Facebook, facebook.com/duplicantcomic.
Awesome. And you said it's also on previews right now as well if you guys want to
the
order
preview code is FEB211508 for the first issue.
My goodness, you must have all this written down in front of you. You have to. My memory would not, I wouldn't remember any of that, but like I'm looking at it right now in front of me. So yeah. I always ask this question to everyone who's on the show. Like I have to do it because I feel like people want to know this answer. But if you can say one thing to like the people who follow you, who have followed you throughout all of this, and love your work and love like the first two issues, what would you want to say to those people right now?
I would say you are the reason the comic is even in existence at this point. If it wasn't for my fans and backers on Kickstarter, I would not be able to afford to keep making this issue. So I am extremely, incredibly grateful to them. And I always try to be as available to my fans as possible. And when the post office was having all those crazy delays, like over half of my Kickstarter backers, their packages got stuck at the Lehigh Valley Distro Center for over a month. Before they just like were like, oh yeah, we have them sitting here like Indiana Jones style in the back. And so I commissioned two of my favorite artists to do just these original pieces to give as digital gifts, just to be like, I'm so sorry.
Look at you. Wow. That's incredible. That's really giving back to the fans. That's really cool. Is I know I said it was the last question, but like, is there a long-term, like 5-year plan you have with Duplicant or any other projects you're working on in the future?
Yeah, so Duplicant I envision as 10 issues. So the 5th issue, as soon as I get the script done, is going to go right to art because we're on a bi-monthly release schedule with the publisher. And then I'm probably going to take a short break.
Probably
it's hard to keep this schedule up right now, and then do the next 5 issues. I just had a short comic book story published in Nightmare Anthology, which was an anthology that Clay Adams and David Schrader did. And then I signed with Friction. They're like a short story quarterly publication that only does one comic story in every issue. And so I did a comic story with them that I'm really excited about. It's set in the post-apocalyptic world about a woman and her dog trying to survive in a frozen wasteland.
Sounds
So keep it in the theme there of having
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
And then I have a kids picture book that I wrote that one of my artists who does a lot of my fan art is bringing to life, Mariah Terry. She's on Instagram and she's amazing. I met her at Baltimore Comic-Con.
Petal the Timid Inventor, right?
And then I'm creating an animated series with animator and paranormal expert Sapphire Sandalo that we're scripting. We meet up twice a week on Zoom to write the script for that.
Nabarang, wasn't it?
Nabarang,
right. And Petal and the Timid is the one with Maria Terry.
Yeah.
And you also have The Hotel, I believe, right?
Yeah, The Hotel. Yeah, that's the short story. The short comic I just did.
Yeah, I do my homework. Yeah, gotta be on top of it.
I mean, honestly, if I had more money, I'd be doing more comic book stories. And so it's just, money.
I mean, I'll probably be talking to a lot more people if I have more cash in my pocket too. So no, I completely hear you. This has been fun. This has been like a real blast. Like I really enjoy talking about this work. I know I gushed a bit.
I'm happy to have it. I'm so
I don't apologize. Yeah, I mean every word. I don't apologize a little bit. Like I loved it. This was fun talking about your work. This is the After Nerd Talk. Karla, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
I can't wait to have you on again because I want to talk about issue 5 when it comes out. I got to have you back for issue 5, most definitely.